rain and snow in such a short period of time has really ratcheted up the threat of landslides all across western Washington. In Magnolia, a landslide knocked a home off its foundation and trapped a man inside. Tonight, that man is out of the hospital. KOMO's Suzanne Fong gives us a closer look now at the trouble landslides are creating all across our region.
To see the damage a landslide did to this home on Perkins Lane in Magnolia. To imagine the horror a man and woman there faced as a wall of mud came crashing into their place.
It's very scary.
Myra Karp lives just down the street from where Friday's slide happened. She survived a terrifying ordeal about 4 decades ago. A wall of mud and debris slammed into her home and the house right next door.
I was very lucky. It came down and across the street and wiped out a car that was parked next door and came as far as my kitchen door.
The National Weather Service says Seattle got 4 inches of rain in 48 hours. All that water plus the snow and snowmelt wreaking havoc across our region.
It was just a lot of water all at once that was trying to go through the soil. And as water drains through, it loosens things up, which makes the area more prone to landslides.
The rain has stopped, but the landslide danger is still there.
Any of the steeper hills, mountainsides, cliffs, they're the most prone to it.
Geologists have been out to check on this landslide here in West Seattle. The hillside here still very muddy and unstable. A landslide brought a tree down on power lines along Highland Parkway Southwest and Southwest Othello Street. That road is closed from Holden Street to West Marginal Way. SDOT says crews are working as fast as they can to clear away the debris. On the Burt Gilman Trail by 130th Street, a big mess. A landslide that amounted to 11 dump trucks worth of debris and mud. Miles away, a viewer shared these images on Twitter saying that Whidbey Island will be, quote, smaller in size after the series of January storms. Near Three Tree Point, west of SeaTac, the road there now under a mountain of debris. The National Weather Service says western Washington has had plenty of rain and the threat of landslides is everywhere. But those threats will lessen as the rain moves out. In Seattle, Suzanne Fong, KOMO News.
Yeah, not good news to deliver tonight. We know the Omicron variant spreads more quickly than the Delta, but it's not considered as harmful as the Delta variant. However, Dr. Jeffrey Duchin of the Seattle King County Health Department says the spread could have serious impacts on businesses and their ability to operate. The reason is for that is that even though the symptoms are not as serious as Delta, those who test positive and those who are unvaccinated and are exposed to COVID need to quarantine for 5 days. He says that is going to impact anywhere from 10 to 20% of the business's workforce. A company, whether it be a restaurant, a manufacturer, or an airline, for example, a company with 100 employees could lose up to 20 people for 5 days at a time. For smaller companies, health leaders say it'll make it hard to stay open.
I think people are feeling it already. You know, many of us know people who've been infected. Many of us are working in environments where many of our colleagues have become infected. And the impacts on the workforce across all sectors are going to be significant. So I think what everyone needs to plan for, you know, relatively high levels of absenteeism and what that means for their operations, continuity, and do whatever they can do to either prioritize the limited resources, human resources that they will have for their most essential operations, or plan to manage the best they can.
Yeah, Dr. Duchin says the clear answer to fighting this and operating businesses is to wear masks, stay socially distanced, and by all means, get vaccinated. And it's important, he says, to get the booster because that can be the difference between whether you have to stay home in quarantine or not if you're just exposed to COVID. And coming up tonight at 6 o'clock, we're going to be talking to one of the leading restaurant owners in the Seattle area about what this all means to operating restaurants. They've just come back from a horrendous very first year. They had good business through the summer. What does this mean to them at this point? Back to you.
Well, Keith, what does Dr. Duchin say about finally getting through this pandemic? And with so many people getting the Omicron variant, is that a sign that we're getting closer to the peak, possibly?
Yeah, we're getting closer, but he said it's going to get worse before it gets better. So there's a long way to go, but he says it's within sight as long as people get vaccinated. The thing is that he believes it could happen mid-month. It could happen 4 weeks out. It could happen 8 weeks out. We will get to a peak, he believes, looking at other countries and what's happened there. And there could be a steep decline considering what's happened overseas and all, but he says nothing is guaranteed in this. We've never been down this road. He does believe that 2022 will be better than 2021, but we said that about 2021 and the year 2020, so we still don't know exactly what's going to happen. It's still up in the air and not good news for the businesses trying to stay open.
Yeah, Eric, hopefully no more major traffic jams behind me here on Wetmore Avenue. That's because the crew this morning here took drastic measures, temporarily suspending all operations and banning all vehicle traffic into this parking lot. But this COVID-19 site has reopened only to walk-ups.
All COVID test line.
Look at this video recorded a few days ago by a neighbor who lives here on Wetmore Avenue.
And we're still going with the COVID testing line.
The line of vehicles was so long,
Her car's broken down in the road while she's waiting for her COVID test.
the bumper-to-bumper traffic caused some major problems around this COVID-19 testing site.
Cars would barely move at all.
Justin Cusper says it was a challenge getting in and out of his own driveway,
The line just kept growing.
which is right down the street from Everett High School.
When the high school got back in here this week, it has just been absolutely insane out here with all the traffic.
You weren't ready for the crush of traffic, right?
Absolutely not.
Manager Alyssa Blackwell says it's been like this for the past 3 weeks because it's the only free COVID testing site in Snohomish County that does not require an appointment.
We were not prepared. We were not warned about that.
Attracting people from all over the region, now dealing with a surge in the Omicron variant.
They love us here. They're really happy we're doing this.
So to make peace with neighbors,
No more driver. We're just going to do a walk-up.
the city says it's now working closely with the Center for COVID Control, the group that manages this Everett site, and is encouraging the use of public transportation to avoid any more neighbor complaints and traffic jams.
There's got to be a better way to do it, you know?
Hi, everyone. I'm Preston Phillips from KOMO News. Thanks for checking out the KOMO YouTube channel. You can see more of our videos right here by clicking on the video links for more news from the Seattle area and Western Washington. Oh, and don't forget to click the subscribe button below so you don't miss our YouTube updates.